Don't have any injuries for you. First of all, there weren't any last night. I don't think any of the guys are in yet, so I'm not expecting any. I thought basically what I told you last night held true. I thought our defense really played well. It was a great game plan. Guys executed it. There were some standouts. I mean, Dan Sorensen did a nice job. The Badger had a nice interception off a deflection. I thought our front played well. And then offensively, there were some good things there. I like the combination with the two backs. They did a nice job. They complement each other in their games. It was good to see LeSean get out and have an opportunity to carry it, and you could see the things that he's capable of doing. And then it all starts up front with the guys blocking. I thought they did a good job in the run game, and there's some things we got to work on with the pass game all the way around, not just on the offensive line, but throughout. We'll take care of that. So anyways, and then special teams with Pringle's return, it was a good job blocking. He hit it aggressively and came out the other side, and it was a heck of a return. So a very explosive play. Anyways, with that, time's yours.
Go first to Bob Fesco. Go ahead, Bob.
Andy, with Bieniemy speaking on Thursday, I guess last week, he talked about getting, W's and not worrying about stats and that kind of stuff. How have you created kind of that culture where everybody is focused on the team and nobody worries about all their individual stats and stuff that they do by themselves?
Yeah, I think it starts with the leaders in the locker room and how they perceive team. And we're fortunate to have guys in there that are not selfish guys. They just want to win. And to have a quarterback that thinks that way, I think is important. And that's the way Pat is. I mean, he's been that way since he's been here. He gets excited whenever and whoever scores touchdowns. I mean, that's just how he's wired. And he's not a big stat guy that way. So if that guy's speaking the right language, then normally you have a pretty good thing going.
Go next to Herbie Tiopi. Go ahead, Herbie.
Hey, Coach. Good afternoon.
Hi,
Harrison Butker is widely regarded as one of the NFL's best kickers, but he's missed an extra point in 2 straight games now, 5 on the season. How much of this is mechanics, and how concerned are you over the missed extra points?
Yeah, well, listen, they're working everything through with the holding and the kicking and angles of the ball and all those things. That just comes with time. They'll be fine as it goes on. I'm not that concerned about that. Knowing both guys, they'll figure all that out. So,
go next to Pete Sweeney. Go ahead, Pete.
Good afternoon, Coach. Patrick made a comment after yesterday's game, kind of comparing himself to young Patrick and the fact that maybe when he was a little bit younger, he would have thrown balls into coverage and forced things. How have you seen the difference between the in-game planning and maybe even the pre-game planning, talking with this version than maybe the 2018 version of Pat?
Yeah, well, listen, he doesn't miss much. And so when he sees something and you see him pull back, I mean, it's in front of all of us. That might have been a time when he would have thrown it and it maybe hits a guy in the side when he's not looking. So something like that. Now he'll take that sack or try to escape and get what he can get. Might not have done that when he was younger. And it's not necessarily his fault. It just might be that somebody's new and, are learning and something happens, So, and then we go back and we all get on the bench and we figure it out and try to get it right the next time.
Let's go next to Mick Schaefer. Go ahead, Mick.
Hey, Coach. Clyde's touchdown run, breaking several tackles there in the first quarter. Have you been waiting for that type of goal line run from him? And has he been a more motivated runner these last couple games?
Yeah, how good is he, man? I mean, the ability to break tackles. He's got that unbelievable balance, and the contact thing is crazy. Yards after contact are nuts. And so you got a chance to see that. I don't know how many snow games he's played in his life, coming from where LSU there. So I don't know how much they play. I've had an opportunity to jump in the snow there and play, but I think he's done a good job on contact. I think we got to see it even up another notch there, and it was great for him to have that reward of scoring there.
Let's go next to Sarin Petro. Good, Sarin.
Real quick, just Brad, just a clarification and then a question. You were talking, Coach, about Harrison Butker, and you said and you're kind of referencing him and Townsend working together and just kind of getting. I know he worked for all the time before that with just one guy, but they're still kind of trying to find their continuity. Was that what you were referencing?
Yeah, I think just the more they do it, the more familiar they'll be with it, and all the little angles. I mean, there's so many little angles that go on according to the wind and all those things. What hash you're on, so on. So I mean, you work through all that and get it right. And so that's what they're doing. And I think we're going to be okay. I'm not really worried about it, but I think we'll be okay. What's the other one?
Then the other one is about Byron Pringle. You mentioned how he hit the kick return, and he's been, when called upon, he's caught every target. He's only had a few targets, right? And I know you guys have had different game plans, and there haven't been as many footballs in the air. But what does he need to do, or to kind of force his way more into just the offensive game plan?
Yeah, he just needs to keep being him and stay healthy, doing it and roll. So he, we saw that. We've seen it periodically throughout either when in the preseason with his return game. We saw it in college at Kansas State there, and so it was good that we were banking kind of on that without a preseason here, banking on what we had seen before, that he could do that, and it would pull off a little bit of the play time for McCoy, but McColl's increased his play time in the offense, so and still return punts there at the same time. So I think as far as working in the offense, he's in there. It's just don't have enough spots. I have to kick the tight ends out of the game plan or something, or running backs. But when given an opportunity, everybody has trust in him.
Go next to Nate Taylor. Go ahead, Nate.
Hey, Andy, I know you mentioned earlier that you enjoyed what you saw from the limited snaps from Le'Veon yesterday. Just what are you hoping to add maybe this week, if there's one or two things to keep him sort of blossoming with the rest of the offense?
Yeah, you know what? It's crazy, Nate. I came in and just reviewed the tape one more time here, and really there were like 40 real plays. I mean, when you look at it, and so before we got into kind of our 4-minute operation, we lost some snaps in there with the turnover where Dan returned the for a touchdown, the interception, and then the kickoff return. So the defense's snaps were way up and the offensive snaps were way down. So I think we weren't able to get the whole game plan going the way that you necessarily want to do, or get into that rhythm. And by that time, you're up by quite a few points, and which is a great thing. I mean, that makes the head coach very happy, but it cuts down on opportunities for some of the offensive guys to do their thing. And so I would say in that case with Le'Veon, just doing both, or rotating with Clyde, it's already cut in half there with that, and then having the number of plays cut back. But we had a pretty healthy load for him in there as we went. You saw the 2 back set where we shifted both of them out, and so we had a couple other things in there that we can utilize his skill and Clyde. So, yeah.
Let's go next to Matt McMullen. Go ahead, Matt.
Hey, Coach. So over the last couple of years, we've seen what the offense can do. One of the best offenses in football, but the defense really came on at the end of the last season, and now this season they're the only team in the NFL to allow 20 or fewer points in 6 of 7 games this year. How have you seen that growth of the defense over the last year or so, and how big is that for your team?
Well, listen, I think it's a tribute to the guys involved with it. So you start with the coaches, you start with Spags and his ability to organize and lead. And then you take the assistant coaches and their ability to get done what Spags wants them to get done and still add their personality to it. And the players likewise, they bought in from the get-go. And Spags just kind of started off with a small package. And then every week he would add a little something onto it that he felt the players would be comfortable with and still be able to execute at a high level. So now he's getting to where he can continue to expand according to what team you're playing and be a little bit more job specific for that team. So and the players, they love that, and they play with great energy and it's a complicated defense. Listen, I mean, he does a lot of things with that, and it's tough on offenses. It's tough on the players. You have to not only spend time here, but when you go home, you've also got to go back and review and study.
Got time for a couple more. We'll go Robert and then Bob to finish us out. Go, Robert.
Hey, Coach. So I believe you guys were the first team this year to score on offense, defense, and special teams. How rare is it for, a team to win in all phases in an NFL game? And keeping in mind how rare that is, how impressed were you that your team was able to do that?
Yeah, it's a tough thing. You normally say, listen, if 2 out of the 3 are top 5 caliber, whatever it is, and whether it's offense, defense, or special teams, if they're top 5 in the National Football League, you have a pretty good chance of striking and having a good year, and getting the ultimate trophy that everybody's striving for. So if you get 3 phases that are kicking in, and that's hard to beat. I mean, it's a tough, I'm giving you more history than not, but you go back and you look at teams that can put together all 3 phases and roll with it. Your percentages of winning are way, way up there.
Go last to Bob Fesco. Go ahead, Bob.
Andy, with another win, you become top 5 all time in the history of the NFL in wins. Besides the Super Bowl, what are some of your favorite wins or wins that really stand out to you?
Well, I'm going to take the last one and then hopefully keep going. One of my ex-players texted me something about that after the game. And I said, man, let's not talk about it. Let's get back on the Jets. That's who we got coming forward. And that's kind of in a simple way of how you look at it, Bob. You never look back. You're kind of going forward. I've been lucky enough to have some great games. To answer your question, I've had some teams that I've been involved with that just put together some great games, and you always think back on the championship games or Super Bowls, but there've been some pretty good ones mixed in there, and we've had some good ones here, had some good ones in Philly, but you don't hang on those for very long. You get yourself back on a track for the Jets, So I'll look back, hang out and grab a cheeseburger when it's all over, and we'll reflect.